A pale redhead and a desert that's 40 degrees do not mix, but sometimes you just gotta go for it in life and get out of your comfort zone. So today I'm driving out into the UAE desert close to Oman to try a day of new things. The moment I stepped out of that car, it felt like I was stepping into a furnace, but it did look like it was gonna be fun. I saw some vintage cars, some camels even, and it was time to pick a scarf. So I went for the dark green one and my guide helped me tie it together. These are great because it not only helps with sun exposure, but also sand, and it felt really good. And I was so happy to see they had water for us. I packed 6 bottles of water. I came prepared because it's the worst feeling when you don't have water when it's hot, but still, I'll always take more. And then we hopped into those vintage Land Rovers and we went for a little tour. It was so cool to see the terrain. It was my first time in a desert. We passed by a very fancy resort that's over 2,000 USD per night, and then we saw some local wildlife as well. Then our guide Farhad wanted to take us on a sand roller coaster, he called it, and that he did. I'm so glad he made us wear seatbelts because holy moly. Then we stopped for some sunset pictures. The sand here was so soft. They recommended no shoes, and I can see why. It felt really nice, and it wasn't too hot, surprisingly. Next stop was a falcon show. I don't think I've ever seen a falcon, maybe at the zoo, but apparently they're the fastest animal. Cheetah's the fastest land animal. This is fastest. 390 kilometers this guy goes. Well, the fastest ever is a female, but this guy still went pretty darn fast, and he really worked for his dinner. He did some little surfing to make sure it was dead, and then he got a little spa treatment because he gets hot very quickly, but he definitely enjoyed that dinner. And speaking of dinner, it sounded like that was going to be the next stop. We were all very excited. My group had a woman from Germany, a family from Colombia. They were so fun, so we headed on over to the main camp. We were greeted with rose water to wash our hands, delicious coffee and dates, and then we got a little tour of the camp, which was so beautiful. It felt like an oasis. We also got a little sneak peek of dinner. It looked like it was going to be so good. This is where we were having dinner, and you could actually sleep over with some of these tours, which was so cool. But we went out back and there was camels. I had no idea, and then they're like, okay, get on. I'm like, sorry, what? I've never even ridden a horse. I was terrified, but they're like, please try it. You could tell they really wanted us to fully experience things, and that I did. I was terrified. There was no saddle or anything. I was so scared I was gonna fall off, but I loved it, and I thanked the camel for carrying me. He was such a sweetie. Oh. And then it was back over to the camp for dinner time. They had so many drink options, lots of juices. They had camel milk, which I didn't try, but I did have a lot of chai, which was very delicious, and lots of watermelon juice, which I don't have too often in Canada. For appetizers, we had lentil soup, we had multiple salads, we had the best baba ganoush I've ever had, hummus. It just kept going, and then we watched some traditional performances while we ate. Next, it was on to the main course, and they did not hold back. They were acting like I was starving. They just kept feeding and feeding. It was so nice. I was like, oh, what's this? They're like, camel. I'm like, haha, no, what is it? They're like, no, camel, please eat it. It's our traditional food. The camel didn't die just for you to not eat it. I'm like, what? After I just bonded with the camel out back, but I did it. I didn't want to hurt anybody's feelings, and I was reluctant, but it tasted like dark turkey meat. I don't know. I don't want to think about it too much. But anyway, then we turned off all the lights and looked at the stars. And we even saw some planets, including Mars, which I didn't know I'd seen before. It's a bit more red than the stars around it, which is so cool. And then guess what? More food, dessert. But overall, it was such an amazing trip.